Hello students, this is the first part of Unit 2 Data Link Layer and Media Access of the subject Computer Networks. Myself Ansi John J. Here is an introduction of the internet networks. So here the sender is Alice and the receiver is Bob. The Alice is sending some messages to the receiver Bob. Okay. So first the Alice is for sending the message from Alice to Bob. The data from the data link layer of Alice, it is forwarded to the router R2. From the data link layer of router R2, the data is forwarded to router R4. From the data link layer of router R4, it is forwarded to router R5. From there, it is forwarded to R7. Bob is connected to this particular router, and from the router R7, it is forwarded to the data link layer of Bob. Communication at the data link layer is node to node. A data unit from one point to in the internet needs to pass through many networks to reach another point. These LANs and WANs are connected by routers. The two-end host and the routers are referred to as nodes, and the networks in between are referred to as links. Next, we see about the services provided by the data link layer. The first service provided by the data link layer is framing. A packet at the data link layer is normally called a frame. The data link layer at each node needs to encapsulate the datagram in a frame before sending it to the next node. The node also needs to decapsulate the datagram from the frame received on the logical channel. Different data link layers have different formats for framing. Next service is the flow control. Whenever we have a producer and a consumer, we need to think about flow control. If the producer produces items that cannot be consumed, accumulation of items occurs. The sending data link layer at the end of a link is the producer of frames. The receiving data link layer at the other end of a link is a consumer. If the rate of produced frames is higher than the rate of consumed frames, frames at the receiving end need to be buffered while waiting to be consumed. Definitely, we cannot have an unlimited buffer size at the receiving side. We have two choices. The first one is to let the receiving data link layer drop the frames if its buffer is full. The second choice is to let the receiving data link layer send a feedback to the sending data link layer to ask it to stop or slow down. Different data link layer protocols use different strategies for flow control. Next service is the error control. At the sending node, a frame in a data link layer needs to be changed to bits, transformed to electromagnetic signals and transmitted through the transmission media. At the receiving node, the electromagnetic signals are received, transformed to bits and put together to create a frame. Since electromagnetic signals are susceptible to error, a frame is susceptible to error. The error needs first to be detected. After detection, it needs to be either corrected at the receiver node or discarded and retransmitted by the sending node. Next service is the congestion control. Although a link may be congested with frames, which may result in frame loss, most data link layer protocols do not directly use congestion control to alleviate congestion, although some wide area networks do. Next, we see about the categories of link. First one is the point-to-point link. It is dedicated to the two devices. Broadcast link is the link shared between several pair of devices. There are two sublayers, data link control and media access control. Data link control sublayer deals with all issues common to both point-to-point and broadcast link. Media access control sublayer deals only with issues specific to broadcast links. Next, we see about link layer addressing. A link layer address is sometimes called a link address, sometimes a physical address, and sometimes a MAC address. When a datagram passes from the network layer to the data link layer, the datagram will be encapsulated in a frame and two data link layer addresses are added to the frame header. So from this diagram, we can see that the sender is the Alice and the receiver is the Bob. Okay, for each and every devices connected in the network, there will be some IP address and as well as link layer address. So here for Alice, N1 is the IP address and L1 is the link layer address. Okay, so inside the frame there will be data source address, that is source IP address, source destination address, and the previous node's link layer address and the next node's link layer address. These are all the contents included in a frame. when the frame moves from one node to another, its link layer address changes, but IP address remains the same, that is address of the sender as well as the address of the receiver. Finally, it passes through, in this particular frame is passing through various routers or some other devices and finally reaching Bob. Here the frame contains data, and N1, which is the IP address of sender, and N8 is the IP address of the receiver. As say, no change happens on this IP address, and the link layer address, that is L7 and L8, that is the previous router address is L7 and the next receiver address is link layer address is L8. Three types of link layer addressing is there. First one, unicast address. Each host or each interface of a router is assigned a unicast address. Unicasting means one-to-one communication. A frame with a unicast address destination is destined only for one entity in the link. Next is the multicast address. Some link layer protocols define multicast address. Multicasting means one-to-many communication. Next one is the broadcast address. Some link layer protocols define a broadcast address. Broadcasting means one-to-all communication. Next, we see about the address resolution protocol, that is ARP. It belongs to the network layer. It maps an IP address to a logical link address. That is, if you are not aware of the logical link address of a particular device, given the IP address of that particular device, you can trace out the logical link address of the particular device using the given IP address. ARP accepts an IP address from the IP protocol, maps the address to the corresponding link layer address and passes it to the data link layer. Next, we are seeing about the ARP operation. So here here in this figure, system A wants to send some data to system B. So it needs the link layer address of system B. For that purpose, system A is sending a ARP request as a broadcast message. This request is forwarded to all the nodes or devices in the network. The system B identifies the IP address contained in the request packet, and it responds with its link layer address to the system A. The response message is unicast only, and the system A now collects the link layer address of system B and forwards the packets to system B. Every host or router on the network receives and processes the ARP request packet, but only the intended recipient recognizes its IP address and sends back an ARP response packet. The response packet contains the recipient's IP and link layer addresses. The packet is unicast directly to the node that sent the request packet. Next, we see about the packet format. The packet totally it is of 32 bytes long, and the various fields are hardware type, protocol type, hardware length, protocol length, operations, that is request or reply, then source hardware address, source protocol address, destination hardware address, destination protocol address. The hardware type field defines the type of link layer protocol. Ethernet is given the type 1. The protocol type defines the network layer protocol. The hardware length field defines the length of the hardware address. The protocol length field defines the length of the protocol address. The operation field specifies whether the packet is a request or reply. The source hardware and source protocol addresses are variable length fields defining the link layer and network layer addresses of the sender. The destination hardware address and the destination protocol address fields define the receiver link layer and network layer addresses. Next, we see about the DLC services, that is data link control services. It deals with procedures for communication between two adjacent nodes, node-to-node communication. So it includes, the functions includes framing, flow control and error control. Framing in the data link layer separates a message from one source to the destination by adding a sender address and a destination address. The destination address defines where the packet is to go. The sender address helps the recipient to acknowledge the receipt. Here we are discussing the format for framing. Frames can be of fixed or variable size. In fixed size framing, there is no need for defining the boundaries of the frames. The size itself can be used as a delimiter. In variable size framing, we need a way to define the end of one frame and the beginning of the next. There are two types, character oriented approach or byte oriented approach is the first one. So here in this format, the frame will contain first a flag, next header, next the data from the upper layers, next is the trailer, and next again flag. The flag bit is used to identify the start and end of the frame. First we see about byte stuffing or character stuffing. A special byte is added to the data section of the frame when there is a character with the same pattern as the flag. The data section is stuffed with an extra byte. This byte is usually called the escape character and has a predefined bit pattern. Whenever the receiver encounters the escape character, it removes it from the data section and treats the next character as data, not as a delimiting flag. The second method is the bit-oriented framing. In bit-oriented framing, the data section of a frame is a sequence of bits to be interpreted by the upper layer as text, graphic, audio, video, and so on. In addition to headers, we still need a delimiter to separate one frame from the other. Most protocols use a special 8-bit pattern flag, that is 1 0 followed by 6 ones, then again 1 0 as the delimiter to define the beginning and end of the frame. Bit stuffing is the insertion of non-information bits into the data to discriminate end of packet and beginning of another one. Next we see about the connectionless and connection-oriented DLC protocol. In connectionless protocol, frames are sent from one node to the next without any relationship between the frames. Each frame is independent. In connection-oriented protocol, a logical connection should be first be established between the two nodes. After all the frames that are somehow related to each other are transmitted, the logical connection is terminated. That is, during the transfer phase, the data is transmitted, and tear down phase, the connection is destroyed. In this type of communication, the frames are numbered and sent in order. If they are not received in order, the receiver needs to wait until all frames belonging to the same set are received and then deliver them in the order to the network layer. And here is some part A questions which are explained in this presentation. Okay, that's all. Thank you.